Hi friends. Well, per usual, I've been outside for about 5 minutes and I'm already drenched in sweat, and so is Genesis. It's about 100 degrees out right now, so not ideal horse training weather, but we're not going to let it hold us back. So, what I'm going to do with Genesis today is start working on getting her neck bending and getting her soft. The importance of this is once I'm in the saddle, I'll need to be able to have that softness in her neck for steering, for stopping. If you have a horse that's really stiff and then you don't address it on the ground and you go to get on them, they're going to be stiff in the saddle as well. So if you need to be able to do a one-way stop for an emergency, and then once you get to a point where you're working on steering, you're not going to have that control and that connection that you'll need to be successful at that. So that's what I'm going to work with Genesis with today. And this is kind of interesting that I'm doing this now, because this is probably something I should have done with her a month ago, if I'm being completely honest. And it's something that I don't actually think she's going to be very successful at. Genesis uses her head and neck to protect herself, so I think that actually learning to give and to bend her neck is going to be a challenge for her. And it's funny because I didn't really consciously say, oh, I don't think she's going to be good at that, so I'm not going to do it. But I realized as I was studying this morning that that actually is what I'm doing. That I am like, well, I want her to be successful, so I'm going to do things that she's going to be successful at, which is most things. But this is one that I just have a feeling will be a little bit stickier for her. She might just impress me like she has with every other activity, but we'll see. But the point of all of this babbling is I need my horse to make mistakes to teach them. I want my horse to make mistakes to teach them, and avoiding things that you don't think they're going to be good at is not going to ever do anyone any good, because sometime it's going to come up. Someday I'm going to have to get on this horse, and I'm going to need to be able to bend her. So there's no point in avoiding this step in her training process. So I'm going to go ahead and knock it out today. We're going to get a start on it, and we'll see how she does. So what this is going to look like, you guys, is I'm going to put myself in a position where I would be sitting if I was on her. So back here in her midsection. And as you can tell that she's already a little bit tense about that. She is concerned anytime I'm beyond her head. And I think that's because she realizes she can't use her head to protect herself. Hi, I'm not doing anything. So I'm going to be in this position here, and I'm going to just take my rope, lay it over her back so it's not in the way for tripping, and it just gives us some feeling on her back. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my hand here, and I'm going to stay in this position as long as I can safely. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start asking for her head to bend towards me and her feet not to move. So a lot of horses, the second you start pulling on their head, their butt moves. But I want to have control of her head separate from her feet. And then, if I want to move her feet, then I would add pressure to move her feet appropriately. But at this point, I want to start separating her head from her feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put just the slightest pull on the rope, and I'm going to stay there until she keeps her feet still and she bends her head towards me. Hi! That's what I will want it to look like on command. So we'll see what happens there. So right here, I'm going to start putting a little bit of pressure, and as long as she gives just a tiny, tiny bit, I'm going to leave her alone. There it is. So I'm just going to relax, walk away, reward her. Hi. That was a good girl. I like to see her lick and chew, or just come down from any tension that she may have. Yeah, we gotta fix your halter. Yes, we do. That was way better. I worked with my 2-year-old colt yesterday on this, and we spun around in circles the first time I asked her for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to do it again, and then I will give her more time to process. I just want to make sure that she understands that I was asking something there and trying to reward her for it. So we're going to just do it again. I'm just going to put a little pull on the rope. And there, at this point now, there's tension. So I'm just going to wait here until she gives a little bit. That was close. There. So she just did just the slightest bend, just the slightest bend of the head. And I wanted to tell her at that point, that's what I want. I want you to give your head, and then you get rewarded. So we're just going to stand here and let her think about that for a second. I'd like to see her lick and chew, if possible. But I at least want to give her time to just process and chill. So she did better that time than the first time. And once again, I am just completely blown away by this mare. Yeah, I thought that she would be really resistant to this exercise, and she's just standing here calm as can be, per usual. You're amazing. You are. You're an amazing horse. There it is. It's always important to wait for that lick and chew. I'm going to turn the camera a little bit. I hope that it's on you guys enough. So important to remember that lick and chew can take a little bit. You know, we move on so quickly, but she was, that whole time I was standing there waiting, she was still processing all of that. She was just standing there thinking about what happened that whole time. And if I would have moved on to something else before she really broke free from that mental hold, I wouldn't have been as successful with the exercise. So it's really important that you give these horses time to process these exercises. So we're going to come back, we'll do it one more time on that side, and then we'll move to the other side. So here, maybe I'll scoot her over here so you guys can see a little bit better. There we go. So I'm going to get in position, put the rope over. I'm going to go ahead and put a little pressure on the rope. She already looks like she's thinking about giving. She's also thinking about moving her feet, so I'm going to stay right here until the feet hold still and the head comes. There. Because once again, I mean, eventually I'm going to want her bending her head all the way around, but at this point I just have to take just a little bit, and then eventually that'll grow and grow and grow into more and more and more. Give her time to think about it if she wants to. She seemed like when I walked away that she kind of like, okay, got it. Like, her body felt a little bit looser as I walked off, so think that she's already starting to understand, okay, when I do this, she leaves me alone. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and move to this side. I'm going to do the same thing. Stay right here. Put a little pressure. So there she's wanting to move her feet. There, the head came a little bit. At this point, I'm just going to wait here because my timing wasn't right. So now I'm going to wait until she gives me the right response again. That was her feet. That's her feet still. There was her head a little bit. I wish it wasn't so close to her moving her feet. Then I would have taken it as a reward, as the right response. There. I'm just going to back off. And I'm going to wait for the lick and chew too. You can wait back there. You can wait back there. Thank you. There's a big sigh. So that's good for me as well. Like, that's something I'll accept. That means that she's okay. I get it. It's just like a human sighing. Oh, okay. Relief. I'd like you to stay out of my space. Okay, we're going to come back, do it again. I'm going to turn her this way here. Thank you. Okay, get in position, put a little pressure on the rope. There, it's already coming really nicely. I'm going to ask her for just a little bit more. There. Good girl. That was really, really good. That was like, she like bent around softly, and then when she got to her sticky point, she kind of did one of these, and that's really what I want to see, is her giving a big give to that pressure. Once again, I want to give her time to come down, process whatever she needs to. There's the lick and chew. She got behind me, so of course you guys didn't see it. Her lips are going. So. Very good. Thank you. So I'm going to come back, do it on this side again. I'd like to do it successfully one more time on each side. And then I'm really happy with her response to this exercise, so I'll let it be if she responds well again. Once again, I thought I was gonna have this big explosive moment for you guys to witness in my training, and she just doesn't do it. If anyone ever wanted a partner that tries as hard as they do, if not more, this is the horse. Alright, so I'm going to put the little pressure on the rope. She did give a little bit, but I'm going to ask for a little bit more again. There's a little bit more. If she gives from here, then I'm going to reward her by letting it go. So pressure motivates a horse to do something, but it's the release of pressure that teaches them. So as long as there it is. So it's the release of pressure that teaches. So when she does the right thing, if I immediately release that pressure, that tells her, oh, I get to relax when I bend my head to that rope. And then she'll start associating every time she feels that pressure on that rope. Okay, if I give to that rope, then I get release. So it's really important that your timing's right and that that you're rewarding that effort, even if it's just like the smallest little bit that you're doing it, because that grows and grows and grows for them. I'm going to once again stand here and give her plenty of time to process. You guys have seen how long it's taking her to lick and chew today. She just seems like she needs that little extra time to get through this. And you know, it's funny because, you know, I said that I didn't think that she was going to do well with this exercise, and she is doing really well, but she also is taking a lot more time to process these exercises than she does the other exercises. So although this training session might not look incredibly difficult for her because she is trying so hard to give the right response, that doesn't mean that it mentally isn't harder for her than some of the other stuff we've done. And the reason I think that is because of how long it is taking her to come down from these exercises. Normally it's like, okay, I did it, the pressure release, okay, I get it. No. She like does it really like quickly, she processes. But this time it seems like she needs this extra time to just like, okay, wait a minute, what just happened there? What was that? Probably a couple minutes that it took that time for her to come down off of that. So I do think that this is actually a little bit harder exercise for her. I thought that it was going to be physically more obvious, but it's definitely more mentally obvious than anything. It's important that you're looking for those things when you're training these horses because it can be easily missed. So, okay, I'm going to give a little pressure. Oh, look at that. I'm going to ask for just a little bit more. I want you guys to know too that I'm like barely pulling on this rope. Like, there, good girl. Good girl. Barely pulling on that rope because she's responding to it with just the slightest movement. So if she's responding to that with just a really soft pull, there's no need to yank on her. That's like, you know, doing the horse no justice, and it doesn't teach them softness. If she can respond at just the slightest pull, then, you know, why wouldn't I want to do that? I don't want to, every time I bend her head, to be having to go at this amount of force. I'd rather be sitting on her and just allows me to be a little bit lazier. Okay, so I want my horses soft, which means I have to start at the softest level possible. And if she's responding at the softest level possible, then there's no reason to increase the pressure ever. So that means that from here on out, she'll always be responsive. She'll learn to be responsive at that base level. And so it'll really create a really easy horse, a horse that doesn't require big, obnoxious, strong movements. So I haven't seen her come down from this last exercise yet. That's why I'm kind of just rambling, because I want to give her time once again to process. And like I said, if you've seen any of Genesis's other videos, it is like instantaneous that she processes. It's like, yep, I got it. I understand what just happened there. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, and she like, it's right away. So this is obvious to me that this is harder for her, even though she's doing so well at it. I just have my hand up here as a block because she is continuing to try to put me on the other side of her, so I don't want to be on the other side of her. There it is. That was how long it took. So if you guys are training horses and you are if you're working with horses, whatever, like, take this as, you know, encouragement to make sure you're giving your horses time to process, because if you're moving on, bam, 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 they're really not learning at the level that they could be. You know, that took minutes. It took minutes of, hey, nothing's going to happen because you did the right thing, for her to, like, get through that. So make sure you're being patient with them and doing them good, you know. I think the reason that Genesis, one of the reasons that Genesis is such an amazing partner is because she's always had the opportunity, you know, she went from no handling to her handling being soft and patient and clear. And I think that set her up really well to be a better partner, and why she does so well with all these different exercises, because she doesn't know wrong. She's never been, you know, handled in a way that's been rude to her, or just, I'm trying to find the word to say, but you know, she's always been handled in a way that makes sense to her and does right by her, you know. And so she doesn't have a reason to fight, and she doesn't have a reason to you know, want to misbehave or try other options for getting relief, because she knows that the relief comes when she calmly does the right response. So I'm really happy with that today, you guys. I'm gonna let her loose and let her chill, and I'm really proud of this mare. She's an amazing partner. Yes, you are. You're an amazing partner.